Oh my gosh, did you hear my conversation?
Why are you cold?
Okay.
It's such a, yeah, that's what I'm
Sort of.
Are you guys doing it? I don't think so. 16th is.
I don't know how many hours.
Right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get started. It's 1:30, and I'd like to call the stated meeting for the City Council of Sunrise Beach, Texas. We gave notice to the state meeting for the 11th Council is going to be held today, February 19th, at Sunrise Beach Federated Church. First, we have called the order establishment of a quorum. We have a quorum, and Pastor Henderson, could I ask you to give us an invitation, please?
Let us pray. Gracious and Lord God, we give you thanks for this council, city employees who are here today, the citizens who are here and involved in things going on in this city. We ask that you continue to bestow your blessings upon us, that you lead, guide, and direct this council in its deliberations. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Say the pledge, face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Thank you. See you. I want to open by saying thank you, Kevin Henderson, for letting us use the church, and Earl, who really is the brains behind taking care of this place. But we will be finished with the Civic Center tomorrow. So we'll be having the y'all's first meeting will be next Monday. So P&Z will be Wednesday at 10 o'clock. And that will be our next meeting with us. The newly sealing and renovated lobby of the Civic Center. All right. Do we have any citizens to be heard? Chief?
No, sir.
Okay. And as always, if there's anything anybody wants to comment on for any particular thing, we rely on custom. We'll be happy to let anybody say anything that they'd like about an agenda item. We are streaming. Okay. All right. We are live streaming, so there's the camera right there. So thanks to Mike Bird and to Jamie for coming over here and working on getting that set up. YouTube. So it's not on my TV. It's YouTube channel. We have city. And we're tweaking it, so we'll make sure it works here. All right. Moving on to agenda item 5, consent item. First, is there anything that any council member would like to have pulled for discussion? Absolutely.
On the, E5E budget, it's for Sandy, this, she would know the answer off the top.
That's full for discussion.
It's a question.
And I'm sure that this was on the previous, the answer to my question is probably the previous, monthly report. I missed it. But I was on the miscellaneous income that year to date is 9,100. And I know that the budget says it was 3,000, but why is it so high? But, I mean, what did we get?
Let me look.
Or was it, the permits, does that fall under different?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to hold up the meeting, you want to just, touching.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
And I do want to point out that we were working on getting the entire packet published, but there were suggestions made at the last council meeting regarding putting the actual number of permits that are active, and those are in there right now. Trent, do you have anything to say about those? I think I saw that we have approximately 70-something active permits at any given time right now. Any comments about any closed? There's another an agenda item on Park Terrace. So
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing unless you got a question about it.
okay. And also the police report that has more information on it. There was requested last council meeting, and we'll work on getting those published so people can see and obviously anybody can look at it at any given time if they'd like to. City Hall or just ask one of those. All right, are there any other things that need to be pulled or discussed on consent items? If not, I'll hear a motion to approve the consent items as presented. Second, first from Councilmember Gower, second from Councilmember Berger. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, like sign. Thank you. We're going to table item 6, presentation by Sean Montgomery of HydroPro Solutions on the AMR meter program. He was unable to make it and had a last minute cancellation. Sean, do you have anything to say about that particular item? What it is, the AMR?
He was going to give us a full, basically address down of what the AMR program is, what types of meters are in the AMR program, how it's set up, what it costs to get it started, all the equipment you would need in the programming, just so that way everybody would have the full information of what it takes to put an AMR program together, plus what it would cost. And if you had any questions, he would be able to answer any of your questions.
And just make sure everybody knows that those are the automated meter programs that you can actually have an app on your phone. If anybody uses Kingsland Water, they have that. And then, right now, we go out and we manually read meters, so we catch things, and sometimes it can be delayed. It's much quicker than it was a couple of years ago, but we still like to have that. Unfortunately, the very first pass in getting these meters put in place in Sunrise Beach was in the neighborhood of $250,000. So we're not going to be doing that right away, but we're looking at how eventually we have to have it. That this will save the city money. It's going to be easier on the citizens to see what their water usage actually is. It will identify leaks much quicker than we can do that.
I believe the first is.
Yeah, I asked him.
I don't know what it was.
Something to look at, and I know that Kyle just did theirs, they just muted, put theirs in.
Quick question on yours.
Yes.
Are we still reading monthly or?
We're doing monthly,
Is there a reason we have times in the quarter that you're talking about?
yes, because we're catching things quicker. And as long as we have our water system, and we have leaks, I'll give a great example. We had one property that we found the meter was literally spinning because it was smoking. And it was 200,000 gallons per major leak. And it was down in the creek behind it, nobody could see it. And if we had, if it had been quarterly, it would have been probably another $600,000. So that's one of the main reasons.
Yeah, it's a pretty big cost to the city, so that suggests the next year.
Actually, it's a pretty good cost to the customer.
Yeah.
Certainly, I would check the YouTube is streaming, I have no computer in there. Those in the back, just be warned, the microphone is back there, and it can pick up stuff. And I was hearing a little bit of a conversation in the back, so just so you know.
That's mainly
We've already been warned.
addressing
We
this.
were warned before.
All right, so we've tabled that one until further notice, and when we find out when Mr. McGovern can come back with his presentation. Moving on to item number 7, discussion and possible action on water project, of which is an update. Councilmember Burr, Councilmember Underwood, runs.
I'd like to just bring you up to date on where we are on the technical side of the water project and Rick plans in that program we just came aware of that Rick looking into is to possibly get it for the meters we're talking about. HR Green thinks we're in a great position right now because we have engineering done. Nice for the study, I'll talk a little bit about that more in a second. But because we have the engineering done, and we can step right in as soon as the money becomes available, where it's on our city. We can step right in. So that is being looked at. It's a good suggestion, but we are looking at it as a means of possible way to finance that. As Sean said, it's not an inexpensive project. It's true. Okay, so where are we? Well, back in 2023, when they're Shelley and Dan together with the county, and we had a Harper grant too, because we knew that we didn't meet the volume requirements required by TCEQ. So we got the money for that. We hired H.O. Green. John Swin and I worked long and hard trying to select the correct contractor for that. And our thought was then, and it still is, this is still my thought, if we find a contractor with money to do the design as required by TCEQ, it has to be by a Texas professional engineer. It has to be signed by a Texas professional engineer. And then get the design, and then also have that contractor help us write the bids, evaluate the bids, and then monitor the contractor that we hire to, that's going to do the forward on the tank installation, and also the long 12-inch line to sending up. That's still in the back of my mind as the way to go. One, that we have the Texas PE watching the contractor. Two, we have Ken Atkins and myself watching HR3. And so I think between that type of approach, I think Sean will go along with that is probably the way to go. And Sean obviously is going to be a key member, a third member of a team monitoring HR3. So that's kind of where we are now. I talked to the project manager over at HR3 yesterday, Thomas. She said that the 90% is almost done. We'll present it to TCEQ in the next 4 weeks. We almost sit around and wait. TCEQ is famous for making me wait, and usually it's a 90-day wait. And so I'm hoping that we can put out bids either by May or early June and start ASAP by after that. So, any questions from the technical side? Ken and Agnes and I are working on new generators, for the new generators, which are going to be high-speed hubs. And we're going back and forth with HR3, and it's just a little minor bickering on whether we will be size. It's nothing that's not solved. Questions? Talk about it.
Should we give you a grant money here today, I mean, or grant money here today? Spoke around about it. I did kind of a cheat sheet, I was putting back to my finance team. the timing would be better for us to apply than we did. Paul, you and I talked about it as well. The timing was just essential. We're basically getting $12 million, getting a little more than that, 12,123,998.76 is what will be posted today into our accounts. We're basically gonna have because when we bought, and the values of the bonds in the market was very good that day. Actually, we've got a deficit of 11,225,000 estimated that we're gonna put on the books. So we're essentially receiving 12,123,000. We got to put 11,225,000 on our books as the debt. So the differential in that pays for all the services to get the bond and all of that, and it leaves us a net right around 12 million, a little over $12 million. That is what our net money will be to start with. The other side of that is we're paying, got an annual rate of 3.59% on the entire payout of the bond. I think we're putting the money, I know we're putting the money into a special account in tech school. Sandy, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think we're at 3.85, almost 3.9 is what we're getting, I think, percentage on the return on that account. I know it's about 0.3% higher than what we're paying for the money.
I don't know what it is right at this particular
It
moment in time, but
fluctuates,
the last month was an average of 3.58.
Yeah, so we're gonna make tenths of a percent. We can't do that forever. It's gotta be amortized over 5 years. But as we use the money, move the money, as we start getting the project going, we'll be taking deficits out of that. So that's kind of a quick and easy where we're at. We're still, even though we got a great interest rate, when you do all the numbers on it, we got basically $11,225,000 principal. And our total payback is $17,837,170 over 20 years. We're still paying $6.6 million on this $12 million, even with a 3.5% interest rate. It's horrendous. But the timing, again, couldn't have been better for us to apply for this. And we're getting that all set up again. It should drop today, probably tomorrow we'll get notice of it. But we're doing the transfer today.
When will the property taxes be effective? Would it be this coming year?
Next year.
When they get the notice in October, they'll start showing up.
Budget will be, we'll have that built into it, starting in June.
We don't start paying on it for next year.
Correct.
We're making interest on it, but we're making interest on it.
Yeah, also, if you have anything else to say about the loan grant,
So I've got the information from Mike. Mike has sent this over to me. I put my team together. I say my team, but Frank and John Schuer and I were the ones that put all the plans and stuff together for the funds. So I got all those guys. We're going to start working now that we've got the funds in place. We're going to start working on the application. The application starts in March and we just do it in July. We haven't had our first meeting yet. Talked on the phone about it. We are going to start trying to put what we call our finance side of this. It's going to start going together and trying to get some grants. There's another grant going through with he said it was LCRA. It's not right, but I'm going to try to apply for that one. This one we can apply for or receive up to, as our side of our year, we can get up to a maximum of $5 million. This one that HR Green suggested we go after and look at because of the time we're going to be in. And again, it's perfect timing. We'll be right in the middle of getting all of our work done. These grants will be approved and they want to approve them on current projects. My suggestion would be we take some of this money, which should be given grants on it, and we put it toward the again, there's a lot of work ahead of us to try to do this, but timing's good. Again, myself and Frank and John will go ahead and start putting everything together and we'll go ahead and apply for it. straight, this is straight man, the other one's straight man. Yeah, good work.
I know the state just recently passed a little over $500 million for that water development. Those usually take a couple of years to trickle down. But I met with, at our case center before this week, and we're right in the middle of their radar, district, and continue to pursue alternative finances, and ideally, they want to offer. Any questions from you? The text line,
It's going straight into the next, it's going straight in.
it's already been up to the line items, you can't touch it for me, because it's not in general fund.
Right. Sorry, that is on the subject, yeah. Got it.
The minute it comes, it's going straight.
Yeah, going straight into that.
Party building text line. Any other questions? Okay. We really didn't take any action on that, so that was discussion. Next item 8, discussion or possible action, probably was a discussion, but short-term rentals, just for briefly, playing zoning debt, and Virginia completely filled the blanks, but I wasn't there in all of that meeting, but, and really was deferred on making a decision on creating or what we do with our existing ordinance, at least the best way to put it. So now, we as a city need to think about, are we going to pursue, because the council can't put in ordinances that either get rid of the ordinance that says short-term rentals. Now, I know, even back earlier, right, hot tax, we talked about that, and, but we can put in an ordinance that says that we can allow them with certain restrictions, which is highly restricted. Or we can just do nothing, which means we have at least 10 of those operations going on in our city at any given time that we really don't think we're not doing anything about. Remember, we have a new judge coming in. So Becky Lang is our new judge. She is deputy. We sworn her in. Her first court will be in March. And so we're in discussions with her about what she wants to do about that. If we write a ticket, what she plans to do. And brief history, remember, these are things that have been debated at state level for years and years, and there's been one successful suit that a city has brought to uphold their short-term rental ordinance in the city of Bradbury, and it took them 7 years, and so I don't think we have the state power, the money to fight something like that legally, and it's currently never been. So right now, there's no case law that says you can't enforce an ordinance like we have, but there's no state law. The legislature will put something in place, take it out of our hands and make us do it. But I think the prudent thing to do is think about, let's get out ahead of them. So again, this is really just more informational right now. We've been talking about this for years now. We had a town hall meeting. It was probably one of the biggest ones we've ever had attended regarding short-term rentals. And so that one is, as y'all know, people in our city, they're pretty evenly divided on whether they want it or not. I don't think about want something. But the fact is, it's happening anyway. And we have the ability to do a hot tax. Now, a lot of people have said, and we certainly can do that. The city council can put that in place. That's not a voter approval. It doesn't affect anybody other than people that operate those things. Right now, we do have a hotel environment, which is in Lake Elby's agreement that has not been open. I talked to George a couple days ago. He said not since July 4th, but the ownership there is a question. I don't think we rely on that for anything at this point. Be nice. So then we get into, we have these operations that are going on. We have no idea. They are required by law, regardless of whether we have anything in place, to give, I believe it's 6% to the state. And whether they're doing that or not, that would require open records, requesting comptrollers. I've called in. That we would be so far down on the hierarchy of finding that information that we could before we could. I'm not saying that's a bad idea, not that we request it right now. We'll see if those folks are actually doing it. If they weren't, it's still a state enforcement issue. It's not ours, unless we have hot tax in place. The city can collect up to 11% or 17% total tax and get those revenues. Then you get into the administration, collection, how do you enforce it? It's really better done by ordinance. So I'm open to any, this is really not a discussion about SDRs today, open to any quick questions or discussion from council. Tim?
We discussed at this meeting that someone was gonna get in touch with the Attorney General's office and get their opinion weighed in, if anybody.
I put in an inquiry, not heard back, so that's worth a follow-up. Obviously, our Attorney General's good at things right now.
Yeah.
But that's a very good point, thanks for bringing that up, but I did right after that, and I've not followed up with my failure, so I'm contacted them. At G's office, I know, and Jeff's always really good about making sure we consult with their legal experts. So, yes, sir.
Has anybody contacted the city of Lakewood? Because when I was on the zoning plan, they implemented short-term rental taxes.
Well, and I don't know about specifically Lakeway, and I know that we, Gene and I talked, and we've all gathered a lot of information from surrounding communities in Boston, but most notably, Red Shoals, they're our closest neighbor that does that. We looked at things like Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg has zones where they allow STRs and zones and things. We're big enough to do that on. But again, that's just showing an example of something that's possible.
Yeah, just point of clarification on how the community feels. We did a citywide survey that had pretty good response, and I believe it was about 67% opposed to short-term rentals. So
But it was a topic, and actually I'll pull out, I wish I brought that particular one, because that was an issue, and it did say, one of the things that the citizen said is, if you're gonna do one, which is the caveat, you gotta have really tight rules. So I don't think it was an absolute no, if it's gonna happen.
I think that's what P&Z's been doing, is if we're forced to by the state, it's no short. That's proven. But I think it's very clear that the community, the people that vote for you all, are opposed to it. So we're pursuing this, I don't know for what reason, other than a perceived threat from the state. But it's been over 10 years, and I don't think we've ever been threat from the state. So I think there's some undercurrents of wanting to get these in for
There's no undercurrent. We have the orders now, we don't enforce. That's,
so we got rid of
that's,
the judge. So now we enforce our
anything else in the comments?
Well, my one sitting here is that I don't want short-term rentals either. However, if we have to have them, I sure would like to be doing some of that. I mean, we just observe, enforce them. But we have what we have. We have 10 houses out there that are short-term rentals. We could license it, get a little money off that, and then have a fee for no. I don't know, it's something that needs to be checked out. Like I said, I don't want short-term rentals, but I think that we're forced to live by one way or another to long-term. If we are, let's at least take advantage of what's going to do with the hotel tax, and license fees, and fees also. There's ways that we can get money to make somebody's beach a little better. The second thing behind being the water are the roads. Our roads really could use a little help, but we don't have money to do it. There's absolutely don't have money. They need some of that money for the national highway.
That tax money has to be used for basic subsidies. That's by law.
The hot tax.
It doesn't go, yes, it doesn't go to law. It doesn't go to the city teacher. It doesn't go to the
Overnight stays is really the number one goal of the hot tax.
I mean, the major money, some major, the permit, the annual permit. That would be there.
So, it kind of, where your question was, we ran, I know we talked about it, I ran an analysis of what, here's a hypothetical, it's around $150,000 a year, let's say. And I think that was based on 50 homes we ran for 10 days.
Well, the takeaway from Judge Adams' last meeting was monetizing. The second takeaway from all this discussion is high ordinances that reduce the
negative impact to the citizens, noise, parking. You've got those coupled together, you have an opportunity for it to work. And then those that don't want it might be able to see a benefit from it associated with doing those things, which you probably also had survey is to improving the city for its visibility and its appearance and its livelihood and all of the tourism.
Question. I was saying that there's maybe about 10 homes that are, we've been receiving any complaints from their neighbors.
It's rare, very rare.
What kind of complaints are they? Noise, lights.
And probably the biggest offenders are directly across the park from me. I can name maybe once or twice, and they've always been very compliant. But he's one of the ones that the city's, one of the 2 lawsuits the city entered into and lost. That will be wrong to us. And Paul, your point, there's no question. We're up here to represent people who live here. And the majority don't want it. That's absolutely what we need to do. We gotta figure out a way to do it for it. Any other questions, or this one will keep, this story will continue to be told. So, we've learned that. And to look what other cities have gone through is just, and they're continuously revising.
We're trying to learn from you on price.
It sounds like it's such an option until they render decisions legislative. What do we do? Nothing. We can't.
If the legislature just acts.
My point.
We really thought the session, not last week, before last week, it was a hot topic, and it never made it to committee. And this last one, they didn't even get that far, which was really surprising.
So Rob, if I understand correctly, what the issue here, if the new judge says, where's the ordinance?
We'll enforce it.
That's what we're gonna do.
We're gonna enforce it, and then we have to decide what happens if, not if, when we get sued.
And it's not like we're getting any more homes, it's going to cost us another $200.
And remember, Texas Municipal, we have some kind of backups from them. But I mean, asking them to weigh in on this, there's no way that we're not touching it with a 10-foot pole. I've been talking with them for 2 years about this. But yeah, what's exactly right?
Maybe the county judge can help us.
Who knows? Very limited ordinance. There's no ordinance making responsibility inside of corporate city limits. I would object to that, believe me. Very limited even outside. Go look at our neighbors and say what it is. And if the county really could control things, they make a difference. Okay, with that, that was discussion only, is table the action for item 8, to be continued. Item 9 is discussion or possible action on stipend for mayor, councilman positions. I put this back on here. We discussed it, our strategic plan, that's actually where it was suggested to move it to, and we don't have to take any action today. The reality is, right now, it's really a moot point. We already have, as we know, we're going to talk about it in a minute, the mayor and council member positions that we filled with one position. The way the state law reads, you can put a stipend in place, but the people put it in place can't benefit from it. So in other words, it has to be for the next session. So this may be a 2-year discussion if anybody thinks it's important to continue. I think that's, well, anyway, that's lots of things. Yeah, I was only suggesting for the mayor, and every city I looked at around us has something, and it's really just a token that we appreciate the work you're doing. Just have to remember, we are the only city that Jeff is gonna, appreciate you saying this, we're the only city without a city manager. I think eventually it is in our future. See, I do believe it's in our future. It's just, we all recognize the timing of our water bond. It's just, and the citizens said that earlier. whatnot. But I think something needs to be explored somewhere in the future. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of work. So that's no action, we'll table item 9 unless there's any other discussion or questions about that. Moving on to discussion on and possible action on item 10, city police donation policy. We don't have a donation policy. In other words, if citizens come to me, and I'll give you what happened, is I had a citizen come and say, here are 3 $1,000 checks. I want the city to have one, I want the fire department to have one, and what else?
Please.
The police, sorry, that's what we're talking about. So, the city one, we had no mechanism to do that. In fact, we have not done it, we were offered the form. So I will, the executive action, put it in the employee holiday, gave it to the employee holiday folks. And they were fine with that. I checked with the donors and we really don't have a way to do this. If you want to take it back, because you have a suggestion. I said, they do this every Christmas, would you like to use it? And they said, fine. So that's a good point for the city. Fire department, I give the volunteer fire department theirs. Now we have one, sorry. Yeah, they kept theirs. And then we have one, and we always have needs for them. And so I've got Chief Rock and said, I have any needs, and she said, absolutely. And it has to be for a defined purpose, so I think this time we're thinking about tactical vests. And for those that don't have it, I don't want to ask one. But we don't have a policy that allows us to do it. So I checked with state ethics, and then Texas Municipal League, and then the city of Lano actually has, the Lano County has a policy. Start drafting one up. Really, right now, we need to accept the donation, and that can be a council decision, and we can work on a policy of how to make that happen. But even then, all of those councils and commissioners courts, they always need that, no matter how much it is, they bring it back. So I think that's the right thing to do. So today, what I'm asking for is not so much developing a policy, but the ability to accept the $1,000 donation to be donated to the Sunrise Beach Police Department for the express purpose of, I guess, it will have the express purpose, I believe, right now, it's back with us. First, I need a motion, and second, then we can discuss it.
I have a question. Are we on item 10?
We're on item 10, we moved on from item 10, but item 10. 10. Oh, well, that's a policy, I'm sorry. Well, I combined them, didn't I? Okay.
Yeah, you did.
Wait, let's table the policy number 10, moving on to item 11. Is that okay, tabling item 10 for everybody? Okay, move on to item 11. Should we get it?
Is the amount?
No, it's $1,000.
Okay.
It's $1,000.
It's $1,000. Your second. Any further discussion?
Mayor, give me that.
Absolutely, you can wear mine. A little bit different size.
I,
Yes. discussion.
I'm assuming that, this person is wanting to remain anonymous.
They do.
I just have a question about donations directed to the police department. Does the police department know who's getting the money?
I probably told him yes. I don't know the number.
Yeah, I'm not, inherently against it, but I would like the council to know who that is.
Sure.
If the person wants to remain anonymous, I can respect that, but it can remain anonymous within the council.
I fully agree. That's one show. And I will tell you, the reason is, when I thought about it, when I got that, so I go to all the commercial reports, and occasionally people donate, and usually it's to the sheriff's office. And it's from maybe it's a group or an individual. And it's usually these $1,000 or less amounts. But it's always published. And the reason I did it is because I asked specifically, and that citizen would rather remain anonymous. But yes, I can share it with you.
I know there are occasions, there are some rules, I'm not saying they're pertaining to this particular situation, but that it is a mandate to say who's
Disclose.
and the amount of money. So so in my discussion part, I'd be in favor of this as long as we can have an executive session, whatever it takes to inform the council.
And now,
Just to check the balance.
I have no problem with that, and just let everybody know, this is something that, text open records and purpose of transparency, that's what that's all about. And if anybody came into our office and said, I'd like to see the documentation on that donation, you would get it, you would absolutely get it. And because, and people that give us stuff, we've had other things, that are more, like tangible things, that want to remain anonymous. It's still open records, it's still subject to open records. And we're fully aware of that, and we want to make sure.
Other cities have associations that fund donations to the police department. Is that for a legal reason that they have those separate associations that then turn around and fund specific things for the police?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. But I will tell you what I've seen with the SRO, the sheriff's office in Loudoun County. I've seen them both from individuals and organizations like community associations.
I want to, on, specifically for buying the vest. Do we not have this at this point in time, or are they timed out? Because they do have those expiration dates.
I'm sorry, what was specifically, I heard part of it.
Okay. The question is, do we not have enough vests, or do we have vests that are expiring and we're timing out?
We have it kind of on a rotation basis. They only last 5 calendar years.
Right.
So obviously it's kind of a rotation, and he asked me, where would this be best suited? And I'm like, well, that would be, something good, and I've seen that done with other departments. And we've had money offered before, but I've always said, no, we can't do that. And so this time we got into a pretty good discussion about it, and talked to the sheriff's office and how they've done that in the past. So where we've turned it down in the past, this gives us an avenue to go there, and if she wants to donate it, then that's somewhere we can always use it.
And you just let the cat out of the bag, Lisa. You narrowed it down to 50% of people.
I don't know if that's, I have some stats on stuff like that.
And I believe you for part-time officers, you do not have tax effects.
Yes.
And I think that's what we're looking at. Any further discussion? Sometimes we're making everything round as we go. Appreciate that. The next one.
We have a,
Oh, yes, we need that vote, I'm sorry. Well, yes, Bird, we had a discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Like I said, okay, with the correction of $1,000, not $600. Okay, moving on to item 12, discussion of possible action on city donation from CCAA with down to $400. That's my name by it, I don't really know a lot about it. Yes, ma'am.
So we received a check from CCAA. I was out of the office that day, so I'm not exactly sure who brought it in, whatever. I contacted or emailed Dina, and I have not gotten a response back of what it's for. In the past, we've always gotten a letter saying specifically what it's for, which is the same like with the department.
So I would suggest we wait to deposit it.
Right, no, I haven't touched it.
Remember, the CCA did go out and solicit funds for helping us with the ceiling in the Civic Center. And that will be finished, I mentioned tomorrow. We came in within $200 of budget, so I thought we did really good on that. It will be open for people to look at, and starting at your meeting next week. So everybody go to P&Z at 10 o'clock next week. You won't see a whole lot of difference in that unless you are used to looking up and ducking when the brackets fall through the ceiling. The ceiling's much better. The lobby is completely, the ceiling is no longer ceiling tile, it's sheetrock, it's can lights, it's much more welcoming. We're looking at doing something to make that a little nicer as a welcoming place to bring in this.
If that one's, do we know?
It was sealant,
It was for ceiling? Okay.
and I'll get Sandy in.
Okay. Well, can we go ahead and approve it pending on, all right, I'd like to hear a motion to approve the city donation from CCA in the amount of $1,200 pending the documentation is for the ceiling reimbursement from the city. Okay. Councilmember Gallagher, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, please sign.
Of course, the money that came from the police for example, does the city gets that and then does it just go directly into the police budget?
Yes. Well, everything has a line item. So that will go into,
Supplies.
Supplies. Next, this is something, and I'll just read it. Discussion, this is item number 13. Discussion and possible action on request by Casper Kids for donation of the McNair Park Pavilion and all boat launch passes for all volunteer captains for November 14th, 2026. Prefaces, we have gotten, gosh, just the past year, more and more people want to use, we're known as some of the nicest ramps in Lake FJ, and by far the nicest park to have a get together. We have our pavilion, we have the restrooms, it's a beautiful point there. And we did allow last year, and this has been always a case by case, me and many administrations before that allowed this. Well, we're popular now. So now we have to get to the point of, do we want to continue to do that for free? Because a lot of times they have to close the park, or they say close, that they so use the park, there's no other way, and no one else can launch there. So my personal feeling is I'm reluctant to keep giving stuff away. This is a great, this is like the Casting for Heroes, where they do for the veterans. This is for kids. And it's a great event. What happens is inevitably they call and a few days before say, well, can you pressure wash the pavilion? If y'all know, we have parks fees. There's discrete fees for each individual thing. So there's a rent in the pavilion, but if you want us to clean it, it's more. If you want us to do that, of course, there's tiers based on if Paul rents it for his family or somebody from the outside rents it. So obviously, citizens have much preferential treatment. So, you're right, and it was a big deal last year. Now, understand, part of the caveat is in November, and that's not usually really like bass season or anything like that. We get these requests all the time. So I'd like to at least think about some guidelines about how, because eventually it's going to be him and council that gets to approve these things. But it happens all the time. So do we want to give us some discussion right now before we make motions? Do we want to give them a half price? Do we want to have everybody pay full freight? We should be giving folks like this some benefit because they're really doing these are all volunteers as well, just like we are, but they're using our facilities.
And it's for the children.
Casting for Kids.
Yeah.
Like you said that, I saw that. Yeah, the thing is, it can get. Well, maybe we want to think about how we, let's make this two parts. This individual, request, because obviously they have to be planning.
We're a municipality, we don't pay
And just look at the ordinance, possibly building in the ordinance, say, hey, if you meet these criteria, not-for-profit, veterans, whatever it happens to
there's no benefit to us at all.
Same.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
So making sure that we're consistent, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah, that would read my mind, appears that they're not profit.
They're not.
They're not making any money off of it.
They're not.
And it's just one day.
It's just one thing. It's one thing. I let them do it last 2 years.
So what are we losing? How much is the rent the pavilion that day from outside?
I believe it's 500.
500 for the buildings.
So we're just losing $500.
We're gonna let them all out. But those are all volunteer captains, back to folks. Right.
So there's
How much,
probably.
look at how much life is shines from Sunrise Beach. And so you tell 2 friends, another 2 friends tell 2 friends, and 2 friends meet home, and maybe be business for us in the future.
But we also
Yeah,
set
that's true.
aside.
We're pretty involved.
Well, just my thought is, on a case-by-case basis, I don't want the city to be in a jam by somebody coming and asking for a raise. So that's the case.
That's why we are getting more, and you know what, everyone calls me, they're legit. And we check them out there. And the people that rent it, that actually do boat tournaments, we do very well by those. And usually they donate their deposit. Gosh, it was pretty full last year. Whether it's whether.
Do they get sponsors for their event?
Yes.
So let's think about what do we want to do with Casting for Kids for this year. And I'm here with Steve, I'm getting this feeling that, this is an incredibly worthwhile event.
I'm a hard hitter.
Let's continue discussion and we can vote on this one.
So I think,
Unless we have any more.
I've run fishing tournaments with veterans, Operation Second Chance, before we had all the overhead and the ordinances and all of that. My boat captains put out a fair amount of money in terms of using their boats, their gas, their time. And the challenge with that is you start building in freebies and you price yourself out of any of the income or some of the income that is built in there that's supposed to defray the costs on that. For instance, if these guys are getting sponsorships, you've got your boat captains coming. I would be of the mind that the sponsorships can go towards the rental of the pavilion and any labor associated with preparing it for that, and give their boat captains the free ride, because they're the individuals that are shelling out time and effort on this. It can get complex trying to figure out all of the ins and outs of it. Like Steve, I'd be well in favor of continuing to do that this year.
Well, what would you think about if they have additional needs like pressure washing? You're talking about
I don't have any problem with pay for service. That's where, in the rental. The other thing that we always did is, just like with our fishing tournaments that we did for the volunteer fire department, you have sponsorships and you have signage, and you put the people's logo on the signage so that those people who come know who also is supporting it besides the volunteers. So we could ask them, if you're gonna have signage, give us a little positive feedback to the public that we waive your fees and the city is supporting it. You could go to the point, and that would be an ordinance type deal, it would be a 501c3. Or, that's a deep hole too, because there's 501c3s or 501c4s, and I ran a 50c19. And if you're not a 501c3, a lot of people will just absolutely ignore it.
but we're donating, we're not the profit percent.
I understand that, but one of the caveats for waiving these fees would be a nonprofit organization like Jeff was in.
Well, we're walking down the path of the possible ordinance. So first, I would like to maybe hear a motion to approve allowing Casting for Kids a waiver of pavilion and boat launch fees, not to include any private fees.
How many boat launch fees and how I'm going to track that?
I would say that day, the police department, they were not enforcing boat launch on that day. It's an easy to do.
But tell these people that they.
Right. And we'll get the media out. They've been really good about publicizing things.
Was that a motion?
I just want to say one more thing. I can't make a motion. As I said earlier, I think it needs to be a case by case basis. But what caught my eye on the these aren't just kids, these are special needs, very much so. And so,
I'll send you the email, I get it.
Quick question, is anybody from that organization is a resident of Sunrise Beach?
They like us, they're a great place, and they should have it. Okay, I'd like to hear, we can have for a discussion, but I'd like to hear a motion. They need to be done as possible. So really, it's just a waiver, so can you state it?
Make a motion that we provide the children.
The boat launch
And
fees,
so one just close off and allow them to have access to it.
well, the closing is different, but yeah, but waiver of boat launch fees.
Yes.
And I'll add, if they need to wash it down, they can call us, and we'll take our, take a brush truck over there and wash it. Sign up, pay $5.
So,
Place and,
any additional services?
Thank you, ESP.
Okay, any further discussion?
Well,
Yes, sir.
Rob, I just mentioned, and of course, this is a huge conversation. You know, for events like that, it's always great for us to do, you know, something that's great for them. The thing you believe you go into, this word gets out, and then you're flooded with requests.
It's
All I'm saying
started
is,
a lot.
something you'll have to go into how to manage that.
And that really needs, we need to have some kind of guidelines, which is the ordinance in place.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? So, motion passes to waive for, and I will let them know, and I will send them all information about it to you guys, regarding their request. So we will be waiving the boat launch fees and pavilion rental, but keeping in place a deposit and any ancillary services they may need. Okay. Moving on to item 14. This is Chief Brock, discussion and a possible action on acceptance of the racial profiling report. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to check it off, what, that's a big one. I think I'm gonna be fast here. Discussion and a possible action, this is item 14. Proposed ordinance 407.2, update to allow disabled military veterans one free boat launch pass per calendar year for their launch if displaying a disabled veterans license plate. As my name by, this is something that Sergeant Harris had proposed, and it was a great idea, and I know we discussed it with our police and our veterans and our council. First, I think I'd like to have a motion to approve a new ordinance 407.2, which is in the packet, which allows disabled military veterans to have one free yearly pass before elections. We're $200 for those, for their launch vehicle, if it's displaying a disabled veteran's license plate. Good motion. Here's a second.
Just
Okay. Is this citizens, is this residents, or is this anybody?
No, anybody.
Just for public information, what a DV plate is, just so everybody knows. How many know what percentage disability qualifies you for a DV plate? It's 50%. Or 40% if you're missing the lower extremity. So those are the requirements to get a DV plate, so that you can display it on your cars. You get the first one free, but you pay for all the other ones, but you can still have the DV plates on all your cars, but you only get one free.
And Jamie just reminded me, we've been selling a couple of, yearly, I don't know if we've had 6 or 7 so far, but Jamie just reminded me, we actually have someone coming in tomorrow to buy a $200 permit that is a disabled veteran with a disabled veteran plate. So any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed?
So, since that happened, when he comes in tomorrow, Merry Christmas.
I told him to come back Friday, right? Come back
I
Friday.
kind of figured that was the fact.
Steve would have killed me if I talked to you.
Let it go, Jamie.
Okay, now we're moving to item 15, discussion and or possible action on the acceptance of the racial profile report as submitted by Police Chief Corey Clark. Chief.
This is the annual report that we have to send to the state that Citizens Defense in reference to any traffic stops that we made. There's like over 30 something different things that you have to divide up on there as far as where they were stopped, was it on a city street, county road, or, and, were they white, are they black, was it male, female, did they get arrested, did they not get arrested, did they morning, and they take it, and how all that buys up along the trace. So fun stuff that, thank goodness, we have a system that helps us with, and then we can do a little bit of, numbers. But that's good. The law also says that we have to present it to the city, so you guys see what's going on and approve.
And I reviewed it, obviously there's nothing that stands out. The original profile of my name. Well, just any, like your motion to approve the official profile report. Motion second, any further discussion? No. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Okay, that's one. This one, we get to table, it's item 16. Discussion and or possible action on ballot draw for city council / mayor election May 2nd, 2026. We already tabled. And the reason is, of course, we only have one candidate for each one. Check with both the Secretary of State and the Texas Municipal League and with our declaration, not have an election, save the city some money. And thank you so much for the people who stepped up to offer to serve in the next 2 years. And we're, okay. So there's no action on that.
We will have to have the conference possibly.
Okay. We may be able to, we'll see what we can do in March, but right now, we are tabling that because we do not have to have an election. Because we have people who are folks in the city. And I've said it all along, I do people in Sunrise Beach who will rise up and do the right thing, and that's exactly what happened. I really appreciate it.
That's a good question. Kind of side part of that.
Sure.
When it comes to the general election, and how much does it cost us to conduct a general election in Sunrise Beach?
Well, I can tell you that the city manager election, which was a special election, cost a little over $2,000.
Okay, what about in March? We have the
The primaries,
primary.
well, that's really all, that's borne by the elections office.
It depends on how many are involved with it.
But we don't have anybody.
We
on
pay a
the
percentage, is that correct?
It's very small.
It's not enough to consider not having it here.
Now we're talking about controversial stuff.
I'm not proposing anything, I'm just asking,
Do that. Well, and y'all may know,
Citizens will rise up.
and it's really a state issue. The state has actually come out and said they would like communities to look at the number. Right now, I think we have 9 polling locations. And it looks like we will probably pare those down as a county to 7. We're not included in paring down, I promise you. And I made that clear with Andrea Wilson, our elections coordinator. Don't tell anybody, but I suspect our little community right across Sandy Creek, they usually have one person show up or so during their early elections.
Okay, so based on all the darts, I just felt penetrate my body.
Yes, you
It's
did.
because of the citizens one.
Right.
Okay. Okay, answers my question.
You need help pulling those darts out?
And Steve, you shouldn't be taking any darts. It's really about the numbers. So when you get into Tao or Blue Lake, and it's such a minuscule amount of people, and they have to be there at 7 to 7. They have to secure the building the day before, the day after until the election, because the boxes have to be certified, and everything very hush hush. So they're trying to save money. But I was told in those uncertain terms that we have so many people, we have such a great turnout in our elections, we're not even sitting on the table for us.
Yeah, complicated process.
There's no question.
I was told it'll be a 16-hour day.
Yeah, because Steve's been volunteering to switch on the kids in the library, which it was nice to see him when I showed up there the other day.
Steve, there are a lot of residents that just don't like driving. And I'm for Kingston. It's hard enough for them just to drive.
Understand. And but please tell your friends, your neighbors to vote. Always remember, if they're disabled, we are required, the cities or counties are required to have curbside elections. And all you have to do is go inside, have somebody go inside and say, I need somebody to come inside, and they will do it. They will start.
Actually, if they call ahead to the elections office, they'll make arrangements for you.
And outside, there's a big sign where we, and there's a phone number. All you have to do is call that number and we'll come out.
Susie uses it all the time.
That's this last item on the agenda. Or is there anything else anybody would like?
506 Terrace.
Oh, but I know who's, oh, I'm good. That's another page.
Where's your other page?
I've probably pulled the same part too many times, yeah.
Use mine.
That's
That's why I said-
Why are we forgetting that one? Of all people, I can't forget this one. Okay. Everybody knows 506 work session. All right. I'm gonna give a quick preface, I'm gonna turn it over to Danielle. This is a, I think everybody sees this room, understands what's going on. The house that directly across from my house that's been under construction now. In March, it will be 3.5 years. And that didn't include the demo time that they did. That was construction time. So, they have been given an extension upon extension, some under ordinance, some under special dispensation from this council. And it's very clear they're not gonna be done in 2 weeks. It's just not gonna happen. So Danielle made a walkthrough last week, I met with them this week. Danielle's estimating, which I trust her estimation, a whole lot more than the people that work there. There's gonna be 2 more months. So, turn it over to Danielle, have some recommendations, I'll turn it over to you.
I did the walkthrough, I think they still have at least 2 more months of it. So my recommendation is we'll do monthly permit, and it's gonna cost them the fee and the deposit. But since I think it's gonna take 2 more months instead of coming back next month for another hearing, I say let's just do a 2-month extension for $8,750.
My question would be what's allowed by ordinance for us to do.
It's up to council.
Yeah, at this
It
point,
doesn't have anything.
Ordinance doesn't even address it. That's a problem.
Danielle, what was that dollar amount again?
$8,750.
Thank you.
The ordinance, under the ordinance, there are.
It's so the normal permit fee that they paid was $4,375 for the initial permit. So it's just taking the initial fee and the deposit, and now it's a monthly thing.
And it's a real pain for people in the neighborhood in my backyard, on Lake Shore, and the number of 18-wheelers coming back and forth on Lake Shore is unbelievable. Noise, lots of noise. I talked to the neighbor next to that house, and he said his neighbor on the other side was worse than the neighbor building the house. But there's just an extreme amount of noise. My office faces back on this Lake Shore, and sometimes it's just, I don't like any more noise.
And I'll tell you, we're getting more of that. I've gotten a couple of complaints for another construction project, same, close to 7 years ago. There was not only loud music, but the kind of music you don't want to hear, full of bad words. And
From where?
I'll tell you later. I'm not gonna say the address, but I got 2 complaints in one day, and my folks who were reading meters said absolutely that was going on. It was really loud, nasty music, but also lots of cussing that was extremely loud. And fortunately, I caught Lori on a bad day. She wasn't really very good, so I went by and talked to her, and she did. And there's no more music coming out of there. A little bit different issue, but we have more and more construction. We mentioned Trent's report on permits. We have several houses under construction right now. I know 5 years ago, the majority of the traffic in and out was lawn equipment. Now it's construction. That's what it is. Yep.
How are you gonna police wire? There is a ton of hair.
It's being addressed in I required park mitigation. And right now they're planning, and I will tell you, I told them I'm extremely unhappy with the delay because we kind of missed the window of getting park ready. Now we're talking about May before they even start. What they will do is they will bring you dirt and hydro mulch. And you don't put seed out, you put it on the water. And you hope that it will take, but I'm building into, this fee proposal is park mitigation that will include, they will have to keep doing it until it looks good.
Yeah, it's smart.
A quarter of the park right now is dark because of it, that's all. Yeah, they're getting ready.
What would it cost just if you were to go out and site them every day?
The fees are more than they are right now. We looked at that. We write the tickets in every day or every week. We looked at the tickets and they can be up to, well, they can be up to $2,000, but no judge is going to do that. But we looked at, what's a better deal, and administratively, how hard is it?
So the better deal is to double it.
Fees are better.
That's a better deal for the city, but what I'm looking at, is from a legal standpoint. We make an exception to the general rule, and the general rule, when the permit comes out, and you can, it's a violation. And so the general accepted practice is what Steve just said, without finding it there, that I would be concerned about, from a legal standpoint, this guy, saying, no, you went outside the norm, you're picking on me. Yes, I know, I'm 10 years, but I would want this run by the attorney.
Our ordinance states, council makes the decision and the fees. It states it in the ordinance that the council, after their time frame is up, it goes to council for their recommendation, approval for time frame and for their fees. So that's what it says.
And we can do that after, so.
Well, I've been talking to the attorney about this issue for years now. As a general law city, we can, as a council, we can make rules as long as they do not supersede the state law. And this one is an ordinance,
If we don't approve it here, we're gonna have to put a stop work order on it. And then they can't work until we come back to council next month. That's just another option.
It's a no-win situation with folks in the back of the scenes. Nobody anticipated a house being built for $3 million. We wanted to get into the reasons behind it. I'll let us share it with you some of those.
And we're having a planning and zoning next week where we're gonna discuss all this stuff.
Punishment has to absolutely that out. And I think doubling it, I think that's reasonable, but if it goes beyond that.
Well, I think it's stop work. At some point, you've got to say that.
Then you got to and they occupied, put on the tax rolls. It's a no-win situation. Now you just make it painful for them.
When we make it fine.
Well, then I don't know if that's the case with them, but yes, as much as we can.
Yeah, what's reasonable?
Yeah, that's the
I
problem.
agree with everybody on that. I think there's not enough for this ad hoc now specifically as of the attorney. Where does the city stand in arbitrarily deciding to double its fees? Just from my standpoint.
Well,
Those are the best proposals of the line, and that's that line. We're going
to put it to a vote. So what I'd like to is your motion. Everybody, I'd like your motion to go with Danielle's suggestion to do 2 months worth of fees and deposits that are non-refundable at $87.50 and give them that information, including that they have to have a written park mitigation plan. I have it in an email. I'm going to put it in writing when they sign and to make sure the park is restored back to our better condition. So, hey, that's, you need to say that, or you can say as I said it. Oh, wait, we go. You made a motion. Okay, now discussion, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to add on Jeff's comment to your motion that you just stated. That obviously challenges.
Well, I don't.
Pending response.
I can't vote to approve it without, knowing from the city. I mean, if I'm going from the, if we vote to approve it, when you run down the attorney tomorrow,
Well, I will tell you, we're in discussion phase, and we'll get the agenda. This last extension was the past our ordinance. We approved it as a council, and I did run that by the executive. Do this. Here's what our ordinance says very clearly. We don't have a mechanism to go past that first 18 month into subsequent extensions. And our attorney said, yes, happy to Let it probably be any other comment.
That is always confirmed by, it's true. That was confirmed by.
But I would like to continue with the extension.
There's no reason why we can't approve it and then continue and still check with the attorney. Trey, do you have a comment?
Yeah, so we've already done this once before. The only difference was the time frame. The same council approved it. We just did 6 months instead of, and this is really not doubling the fee. It would be 2 1-month permits. So you're just changing the time frame from 6 months to 1 month at a time. But it's gonna take 2 months. So when you say doubling, we're not really doubling the fee. It's kind of confusing that way. But we can break it into 2 1-month permits. That's
That's what we do. Any further?
No, just a comment, but I think that in the ordinance, it said we
No.
what it says that you guys make the time.
It says council discretion to.
But there's nothing in the ordinance that says.
It says- It says, any permit exceeding the maximum stated time period above will need city council approval together with appropriate fees. Appropriate fees is what we normally charge them. We're not going over, we're not charging them more, we're charging them what the fee is. It's just, now it's not 6 months, it's 1 month,
That's right.
which I read it as,
For Danielle, because it's your estimate is a 2-month time period, is that based upon your assessment of where the house is or
that
a discussion with the general contractor?
both. So when I walked through last week, they were taping and closing.
They have about 80% of the drywall.
So,
So he thinks that you'd be done in 2 months.
yes, but they also said they were gonna be done in December.
Well, we know they want.
But looking through, it's not like it's an open house. It is getting stuff in, it's getting sheetrock, it's getting all that. They had a lot of rock going inside the house. They had a bunch of the rocks already up on the walls in the house, so it's going.
So the 2875 for the permit,
That's the actual
How long?
permit fee.
right, how long, what was the time for that permit? How long was that?
So at the very beginning, when they first started, that was for 12 months. And then we had a $50 permit fee, and then a 200 for the second extension, 250. And then after that, that's when it says, council makes the decisions now.
They've had 4 permits now? 3.
3 or 4.
See, because what happened, this was before 347.1. We don't have anything that's been going on longer than this. Because initially there were 12-month permits, and then we realized we can't, nobody can finish house in 12 months, and then they went, the first permit was 19 months. And then 6 months. Now we go a year past what it does.
Well, it's just my question is 2875. How long was that for? 12 months.
At the beginning, yes, at the beginning, 12 months.
So theoretically, we are changing that ordinance.
No, what the ordinance says is the council can, anything passed that exceeds those dates, the council has the discretion and the ability to set both the timeframe and fees. I'm paraphrasing it, but you read it.
Yes.
It says we can set the amount and the timeframe.
It says,
Appropriate fees.
any permit exceeding the maximum stated time period above will need city council approval together with appropriate fees.
We can establish what those are.
Yes, and time frames, whatever.
So without changing that. That's what the law.
That's why we did it.
Because we just keep going back to 12 months of new permits,
People like this was
And they'll do another 12.
It'll still be due.
Can somebody reread the motion? We'll be back.
What I think I said was, we will,
So accept Daniel's recommendation for the amount of whatever it was.
for 2 months, 2 1 month.
2 1 month.
That's not the motion, so,
And I'm going to
did you add that as a motion?
We added that.
I'll go with that.
And notify the city attorney.
Okay, so it can't be approved without, or we're gonna let it run and then we're gonna approve it.
I think, like, second motion, I second, and then entered into discussion about talking with the attorney.
So you made the original motion, I did amend it to his. Okay. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the proposal as stated, without the final approval of the city attorney, please say aye. Any opposed? Aye. Motion passes. All right, so we get to talk today. I want to tell you about there was another change for proposed, unfortunately, with their promotion. That's the last item on the agenda. Announcements are, they're posted online. Are there any other discussions, or anything else to prepare before the council? With that, I'd like to hear a motion to adjourn. Second. Okay, we're done. Great.